The Joe Mays J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years. You are listening to The Joe Mays J-Raff Show.
Boring.
A weekly podcast about sports since 2011.
Don't you ever get tired of being wrong all the time?
With a focus on football.
Sue, late in his career, is going to have his first Super Bowl title. Now, no wonder they want to call it Tampa Bay. Or Tampa Brady. One more snap, would you have guessed when this impossible season was trying to launch that you'd get it all in, you'd get to Tampa, and when the Super Bowl ended, the ball would be in the hands of Tom Brady. I don't know why we ever think it won't. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a second Super Bowl title in franchise history.
And Tom Brady doesn't pass the torch quite yet to Mahomes, does he? No. Even though
you're looking at the greatest right there.
Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffauf. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Joe Mays J-Raff Show. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mays, and sitting here with me in the studio is my co-host, Justin Raffauf.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I just started the game, if that's all right.
Yeah, no, that's where we're at. We're welcome to episode 339. We're continuing our trek through NCAA Football 14 Dynasty mode, and I will pull that up for you here momentarily. Justin is on the controls first. He is playing defense for us. So let's see. There we go. You can take a look at the game in progress. We are in year 2 of our Florida Atlantic Football Dynasty. This is games 9 and 10 this evening. We are up to 14 in the poll with Justin on defense, me on offense. We are 7-1, Justin, with just the only loss in our opening game.
Opener to Florida.
Florida, I believe. Last week after we were done, I sent a picture to Justin of our schedule to date, or our remaining game schedule, and we're looking pretty solid. We have Middle Tennessee. We're at Middle Tennessee State right now. Then we will play Rice this evening. Then next week I will be finishing out games 11 and 12 against North Texas and Florida International. Justin's in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Was that a rushing touchdown?
It was the quarterback.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was one of those where my guy got taken out by one of our other guys. And
Oh, gosh. I hate when that happens. Yeah. So I'm going to be up here momentarily to play on some offense, but we are talking about the AFC East this evening. And I have an email from my uncle that we're going to have to go over where he chronicles our picks to date and also gives us his AFC East picks. But Justin and I are going to talk about the Dolphins, Bills, Patriots, and Jets shortly.
Yeah, so not a strong start on defense there, but
That's right. You know how fast I score, so
yeah. So
it's not like I take an entire quarter or anything.
right. All right. So where do you want to start?
Well, let's start at the bottom like we usually do, and I think we'll be in agreement with our last place team. Because it's clearly the Patriots who are going to go 0-17 this year. First team ever to do that since it's the first year, but the Patriots are awful. They've always been awful. They'll always be awful. Is that how you see it too?
I probably see it working out a little differently, but
1-16?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I think, if we're in agreement there, we can move on to third, which is clearly going to be the Jets because they're awful. They're 1-16. No, I had to get jabs into my uncle because he did not pick the Patriots to win the division, but he did not pick them in third or fourth either. So he thinks that they have my Dolphins this year, and we'll see. we'll see how Justin and I see it playing out. We'll see how it plays out on the field where it really matters. And the real fourth place team, Justin, I assume we do agree, we're going with the Jets.
Yeah, so I do have the Jets in last place here. And you and I have talked a bunch about this. I do feel like the Jets finally made some good moves. I don't know, like Zach Wilson, like any other quarterback, we'll have to wait and see there. But Saleh, the head coach, like I remember when he got hired there, and in the weeks following, some of the articles and things that came out.
Yeah, I think I sent to you. I was
like,
just like, I hate this.
Man, like this is if you're hoping the Jets stay bad, those articles weren't very reassuring because it just felt like the Jets may have made a good hire for once. So we'll have to wait and see on all of those things. One thing that I did think was kind of good, and I heard it on the radio this morning, where somebody was talking about just like Zach Wilson and all that stuff, and I'm like, man, the fact that Zach Wilson and all that, and I know like training camps are getting ready to get fired up. Like by this time next week, like some of the teams, like veterans and some rookies, will have reported.
Yeah, especially the ones playing in the Pro Bowl game,
so,
Hall of Fame game. Sorry.
So I know that's one of those things, but like the fact that like Zach Wilson isn't like just everywhere and everything that you hear about right now, I think that's a good thing for the Jets.
At least it's not at like a regional or national level.
Right, and I'm trying to figure out like what some of that is. I think some of that is that, and this is just me piecing things together. I know they're not any one thing isn't gonna like knock this out of the stories, but like the Mets for the time being are in first place. The Yankees for the time being are underachieving. Not as bad as they had been at one point this season though, but like they're still struggling against the Red Sox a bunch.
They got their fans being banned.
Right. Oh my gosh. Like I was watching that when it happened, and I just like, first of all, the words he was yelling back into the stands, it was clear as day what he's yelling, and like it was. But like I understand. Like
yeah, what an idiot.
Right. There was also, on a side note, that Yankees fan has been banned from all MLB stadiums.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
So like, and one of the things, there was an article this week prior to this that I saw on ESPN, and I did not read all of the article. I only caught bits and pieces of it. But it was talking about how, like, and it wasn't trying to go, like, all Big Brother on us, but it's just saying, like, as facial recognition technologies continue to evolve, like, some of these things may go from, like, meaningless, like, posturing by clubs to, like, actual, somewhat enforceable bans. Like, which, if you do something to that level, like, I don't necessarily have a problem with them being like, you're not welcome here.
No, I don't care whatsoever. If you do something stupid like that, you deserve to be banned.
So, all that being said,
the Jets are fourth place.
Right, and with like basketball still going on, like, and I know the Nets aren't in it, but just like, I think some of those things have helped delay some of the NFL camp talk. But we're about to hit that point. I think the Jets will be headed in the right direction, but they're still not any good. And so I'm going to put them at like, what, they win 3 games last year?
No, they were 2-14.
But that second win was what cost them.
Right.
Trevor Lawrence. Which, whatever, I don't, we'll see how that ends up playing out.
The comparison between the two of them.
Right. It's going to be interesting because, like, while I feel like Saleh is a good hire for the Jets, and we'll see how it works out. Like, I'm not sold at all on Urban Meyer as an NFL coach.
No,
we'll have to see how that plays out, and like how the quarterbacks could be tied to their coaches for eternity. But anyway, nice answer. Thank you.
You got it.
So
that's
anyway,
what I do.
I think the Jets probably win maybe 4, maybe even 5 games. I think.
So 4-13, 5-12. Yeah,
like, is enough to get them some wins, but I don't see them really being a threat in the division or anything like that.
No, I mean, the wins have to come from somewhere, and I agree with everything you've said so far. my uncle texted me, ha ha ha. I'm guessing he's listening live, and he heard me say how I think the Patriots are going 0-17. Obviously, that's not true. As much as we wish that it was true, but yeah, the Jets to me are the worst team on paper. Even if they've gotten better, I still think that they're the worst team in the AFC East because the Bills are very good. The Dolphins, maybe overachieved last year, but they're definitely better than they had been previously. And I don't think they got worse on paper. I think at worst probably a push, but you could argue that they're slightly improved. The Patriots had all those opt-outs and had a weird year at quarterback with Cam Newton, and he dealt with COVID and all these things. Now he's back, and he's got Mac Jones coming up right behind him. I don't really think the Patriots are worse than they were last year. So while the Jets may be better, they're going to have to steal wins from teams that I think are also better than they were a year ago. So the Jets are going to have to beat teams, outside the division, I think, because I definitely think they're the worst team in the division, top to bottom. Now, they could make things interesting because, like you already said, we both really like Robert Saleh. I don't know what to think about Zach Wilson. He wasn't one of my favorites coming out.
Right.
But we also have discussed and gone on record to say we don't think Trevor Lawrence is as a slam dunk prospect as a lot of people do.
Right, I think he could be very good, but I don't think you can anoint him as the next Pat Mahomes or even
Well, it's just, and it's one of those things that, and then we have mentioned this all the time. Just because we don't think he's, the second coming of, Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or something like that, we still think he can be very good. It's just there could be some growing pains, or I don't think, I just don't think he necessarily was as good coming out as a lot of people want you to think, but he also hasn't played a single snap in the NFL yet, so
right.
I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But Zach Wilson, it was a big quarterback draft this year.
Yeah.
And I had been hearing Zach Wilson's name since last summer, that he had he could be a guy that was a fast riser and eventually a top 10 pick, and he went second overall. So obviously that was true to form. Is he better than Sam Darnold? Did New York ruin Sam Darnold? Are we going to see a renaissance in Carolina with him?
Yes.
Is Zach Wilson doomed because he's in New York, or is it because of the coaching staff around him that Darnold was doomed? It's one of those things.
I think it's a bit of all of those things. So I think Sam Darnold didn't play as well as he needed to, but Sam Darnold was also given a crap hand, and sometimes you just have to fold and play your next hand, right?
Right. So, yeah, so that's the Jets. So you said, what, 4-13, 5-12 is what you're thinking for the fourth place Jets team?
Yeah, I have them at 4 or 5 wins.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're off. They were 2-14 last year. I think they're better. I think they're better coached.
Do you want me to take a timeout? I mean, we're almost run down. I'll just leave them for you to have them now.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right on the money. I'll say 5-12, just because I think they could beat up on some of the other teams on their schedule. I forgot about this, but the Jets open at Carolina. So right away you get probably Wilson versus Darnold in the first game.
I remember when that came out, people were talking that's harsh for Zach Wilson. Your first NFL game, which can be kind of crazy.
Going against the guy you took over for.
The guy who they gave up for you.
Yeah.
So. But yeah,
that was a good defensive stop.
Thank you. Yeah, and they had gotten down into field goal range, and I got 2 sacks to take him out. So that was.
Oh, he came off of it.
Convenient.
Oh, he's not down yet?
Oh my gosh! Imagine.
I thought he was gonna get up and I was gonna run with it.
Yeah. So I have the Jets in second or
in fourth place.
In fourth place, and honestly, after this, it got very tough for me. I have a lot of question marks about this division.
Oh my God! Get the ball! No!
Pretty much from here. Pretty much.
Kidding me.
Maybe they'll review it and say who's down.
I hope so. Oh, I can't believe he fumbled it. Come on, that's ridiculous. Oh, that's so frustrating. They didn't review it at all.
No.
Oh, it's so disappointing. Oh, okay. So that's the Jets. They got to win games against teams like Carolina, Denver, maybe Tennessee, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Houston, Philadelphia, maybe New Orleans, depending how things go, and Jacksonville. Unless they're going to play up against some of the AFC East teams. Unless they can catch up to Miami, New England, or Buffalo. Otherwise, they got to win those games that I just mentioned, or some of those games that I just mentioned. All right, so third place. Where are we going with third place? Because I'm not, honestly, I can't say that I'm 100% sure where I want to go with third place.
Right. No, I understand. I'm kind of in the same spot.
I know where I want to go with third place. I just don't know that I can completely convince myself that that's exactly where I should go. But, he's listening, and I want to go on record that if it happens, I want to have called it. So I'm going to go all homer, and I'm going to say that New England is the third place team in the AFC East.
All right.
I have to do it. I'm going there this year. I'm not saying that my Dolphins are Super Bowl contenders or anything, but I'm just gonna say that in the end Miami's gonna have a better record than the New England Patriots. Last year they were 7-9 and missed the playoffs for the first time since. Do you remember 2009? That wasn't it. When was the last time they missed the playoffs?
Yes.
I forget, but 2008 was it? I think was that the year that that's the year that Brady got hurt and Castle took over, but they still missed the playoffs at 11-5. So it had been a while. We mentioned that already that it was a weird year for New England though, because they have
antifreeze skills, by the way.
Middle Tennessee State has antifreeze skills.
We'll try it again.
The Patriots, I think, had the most opt-outs in the NFL.
Yeah,
I think that's correct. I think that actually they might have had double digits. And then, the weird stuff with Cam Newton at quarterback and having COVID and new system and coming to play in New England. So he had a whole bunch of stuff going on that made it difficult for the Patriots. But they just weren't very good offensively.
No, they were pretty bad offensively. And you look at it, they had a chance to win some big games, and you wonder how things might have gone if he didn't have COVID and if they get in the end zone against Seattle at the end of the game, and if he doesn't fumble at the end of the game against the Bills. That's a 2-game swing, but you never know, and they didn't get it done. So there's lots of teams we talk about the close games. So, all right. So you're going with the Patriots. How many wins do you think they're going to have?
Good question. So third place, they were 7-9 last year. So I'm gonna go. I'll put them up at 10-7.
Okay.
But in third place.
Okay.
And maybe when I come to talking about 2, it'll be a tiebreaker type scenario,
Right, no, that makes sense.
But I'll give up because I was gonna go 9-8, but I do think they're gonna be better. I feel like they kind of have to be better.
Oh, absolutely.
With another year of Cam Newton in that system, I think will be better.
They added a bunch of
They
pieces.
added
How
a
that
couple
works
tight
out,
ends with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry.
But the tight ends have worked out in. Some tight ends have worked out in New England. Now I know it's not Tom Brady there, but
And I don't think they'll hesitate to go to Mac Jones if things aren't working out with Cam Newton.
I
I
agree.
think he's proving himself to be, like many thought he could go to the 49ers because he was kind of the most pro-ready quarterback in the draft. Maybe not as high a ceiling as the other guys, but most pro-ready off the bat. So 9-8, 10-7 is where I'm feeling with New England, which is an improvement from last year, but obviously not the jump that people want to see from them, especially their fans. I do think their defense will be even better than it was last year with the return of some of their guys that they were missing. I don't see a breakaway though. I don't see a change from 7-9 to 12-5. I don't see a big swing in that direction in 1 year with even the upgrades that they do have.
Oh, nice first game.
That was close.
Okay.
But that's where I'm at on that. Are you taking New England in third?
So they some strong consideration. I'm not. I'm drinking the New England Kool-Aid and at least a little bit, and I'm going to go with regrettably your Dolphins in third place. I'm going to go a little bit in the same direction as you though. I'm going to go that 9-8 or 10-7 range for the Dolphins. I want to believe, like in what they're building there. We've talked about it for years, and I want to be on the record as I am not at all saying I don't think it's going to work. We know sometimes you get to a point, the teams get to a point where like I have to see them make that next step, and that's kind of where I'm at with the Dolphins right now. Like I believe they have the pieces. I believe they have the quarterback. I believe they have, the coach. I believe they have some of the offensive weapons. I believe they have enough defensive talent there. I just want to see them make that next level, then make that next step. And then we'll kind of see where things go from there. Nice one. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Dolphins. So I think they're going to be in that spot. I would love for them to kind of jump up a little bit more and be pushing that 11 wins, and maybe pushing for the division. And I don't think that's out of the question. If things are clicking for the Dolphins, and when I say that, like, let's keep in mind, Tua was coming off an injury that ended Bo Jackson's career, right? So, like, a legit injury that would have ended his career if it happened maybe even 15 years ago.
I was going to say,
let alone the decades ago that it was for Bo Jackson. That's not the case for him, but he had that. He also had his rookie year be the COVID year. So, like, it's not at all the same. It's just, he was in a tough spot. I think he handled it as well as you could expect. And you want to see progress there. You want to see him continue to grow. But for right now, I'm with the Dolphins. I'm kind of in the, I want to see it. I want to see them, like, basically, if I had to come down to games, I want to see them win some games that they shouldn't win, or that I wouldn't have had them winning before. Does that make sense? So, like, win their games that they're supposed to win, and maybe win a couple that I would have said, that's kind of a surprise, So, like, not that it would be a surprise if they beat the Bills, but, like, you got to split with the Bills, you know what I mean, at worst, and you got to split at worst with the Patriots. But you want to be that team? Beat the Patriots twice, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing would be where I want to see them make those steps.
Right.
So, I think they have the potential, but I just am kind of in a wait and see with them right now.
So I think my uncle is proposing a bet live here as he's watching us, and then we're making these predictions. Why is he just standing there?
I don't know. He didn't hand it off.
So he said he'll buy a shirt. I'm assuming this is if my Dolphins are better than the Patriots this year, and we'll have to clarify that if that's just regular season record, head to head, whatever. But he says I'll buy a shirt that says Joey's Dolphins were better than Rich's Patriots in 2021. And he put it up against one of our show T-shirts. And he said, I'll wear it the next time that they visit. So we'll do some clarification there on what's going on.
We need to have like a boost to this as well. I don't know what it is, but we need to think of a boost where we could get him to wear it to the stadium. Like, I don't think that's going to happen.
Honestly, I just would settle him wearing one of our show shirts to the stadium.
Oh, yeah, that would be fine too. Do you remember when he got the mug that lit up anytime they scored a touchdown?
Oh my gosh, yeah, the RFID or whatever.
Yeah, the things you have to think of to give away to your fans when you just keep winning Super Bowls.
I know, right? Isn't it disgusting?
Except that one time, right? Except that one time.
Except that one time a few years ago.
Yeah.
Huh? Still riding high, huh?
Hey, we got a 3 and out there.
So that's the Patriots.
Defense has not been great, but I got one back for it.
The Patriots. I'm trying to look at their schedule before we move on and flip flop. The Patriots, they get to play the Saints and the Bucks, the Panthers and the Falcons, just like the rest of the AFC. So the AFC East has the NFC South this year. It is going to be fun because the Patriots and Dolphins play the first game of the season and the last game of the season.
Yeah.
And the last game's in Miami.
Of course it is. It always is. Not always, obviously. But
No,
like,
remember
it
2
feels
years
like
ago,
it.
it was in New England and Miami upset them.
Yes, and that opened up home field for
The Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs. But yeah, so looking at the Patriots' schedule, you look at it, that October 3rd game, oh man, that's going to be exciting. That's the Bucks come to town. Brady comes to town.
I'm pretty sure that's mentioned in the email he sent that I'll have to go through.
And they figured this out. If he averages the same number of yards, I think it is,
he could break the
he
record.
would break the record in that week. You think Bill will do you think Belichick would send like a 2-man rush and drop 9 into coverage every down and take the loss just to give Tom the record? Actually, I could see him trying to game plan so like Brady throws for 450 yards, but the Patriots win. You know, like kind of thing,
yeah.
Like, and he would just be like, I don't care.
It doesn't matter. We won.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, is there anything else that jump out on the New England schedule besides the first and last game against the Dolphins and that middle season game against Brady and the Bucks?
So what stands out to me a little bit is starting Thanksgiving weekend, not Thanksgiving Day, but like that weekend, they host the Titans, but then they're at the Bills. Then they're at Indianapolis, who I anticipate will be good.
Yeah, we think so.
At least not a pushover.
Although, I did want to bring this
up. And then they host the Bills. So they play the Bills 3 times in 2 weeks.
Oh, man, that got blown.
Starting at Thanksgiving. You know, so that's kind of crazy.
Huge
and they have
games.
Jacksonville, which I think Jacksonville will not be much by January 2nd. Maybe they'll be one of those teams where, like, the young guys are stepping up by then. That could be, but... And then they play at the Dolphins. So, like, man, they're starting Thanksgiving weekend. It's not a real easy one for them.
I know last week we talked NFC East, and one of the teams that I was down on, maybe versus you and even against a lot, was Washington.
Yeah.
And that we just mentioned how we think Indianapolis is going to be good. One of those clarifications that I want to put in there is that, is those two teams reportedly have the lowest vaccination rate. And I don't bring that up for any reason other than to state that the NFL is imposing more, it's going to make it tougher for those teams to operate as a team at home and on the road. And I was just like, I think that's a competitive disadvantage for those teams.
Yes.
And this is in hindsight, but like, okay, I'm feeling better about my Washington pick because I feel like there's probably going to be some form of mini outbreak or something that's going to cause a key player to miss a game that he probably didn't need to.
Right, 100%. Absolutely.
But unfortunately for us, that also means our Indianapolis, pick also puts them in danger. That was just something that popped up over the last week that I definitely wanted to at least mention in passing. That Washington and Indianapolis, I think, are in trouble if they don't. They got to get those are rookie numbers. We got to boost those numbers. Oh, North Texas loss.
All right, that's big.
So that's big for our conference championship aspirations. It makes it a little easier for us. But I just want to point that out about Washington and Indianapolis.
Yeah,
of course, on the other side, my Dolphins are one of the best, if not the best. One of the best, if not the best, in the entire NFL. They were one of the first 2 or 3 to reach the 85% threshold. So that's good for my Dolphins. But you picked my Dolphins in third. What did you say? You say 10-7? Is that what you went?
Yeah, I'll put them at 10-7.
Okay. So you said 10-7 for them. I said 10-7 for New England. I am putting my Dolphins in second because as much as I'd like to fully jump on the hype train and embrace homerism and say that they're going to go 12-5 and unseat the Bills. I clearly can't do that. I have to stay grounded in reality in some form. And just seeing Miami get absolutely housed by Buffalo in the last game of the year that really did matter for the Dolphins.
Right.
It was really disheartening and really disappointing. And I know that immediately caused people to freak out about Tua. And I really don't get that at all. And you have pointed out some of it already. By talking about his injury, which before would be career-ending, and the COVID stuff. He only started 9 games. He was 6-3 in those games. I know he was pulled twice for Fitzpatrick, and one of them Fitzpatrick was able to end up getting a win for the team, which they desperately needed to make the playoffs against the Raiders. But I just don't understand why people are so quick to throw Tua away. I mean, if you go back to Josh Allen's rookie year,
Oh my gosh.
would you be throwing him away knowing where he's at after year 3?
Right. Exactly.
I don't understand. I don't understand where it's coming from.
Right.
Like
Well,
I don't.
Everybody's prisoner of the moment, and it's nowhere is it magnified more than in the NFL. In the NFL, it is not even a "what have you done for me lately." It is "what have you done for me like today."
In the last 3 weeks.
In today, and it's. I think that's It's not just that way with like throwing away players. It's that way with like hyping up players too. In my opinion, a lot of times, we've talked about this with. We've seen this kind of thing before. We saw it with. It came up last week when you and I watched it with Kevin Cobb, and that's not to say that Kevin Cobb wasn't worthy of being on an NFL roster because he obviously was. But like when he threw for 350 yards or whatever it was,
Against the Saints.
and people were like, "Oh," and you and I were there.
We were at the game.
And we're like, it's not what it seems. Like, yes, he threw for 350 yards, but he probably left 150 yards and 2 touchdowns on the
And
field.
he threw a bunch of interceptions.
Right, like it just it was different than what it was made out to be, and I think that happens a lot, and I think the NFL is where it happens the worst.
For anyone wondering why am I not just taking knees and why am I running this, Larry McCammon III, our running back, is basically in, I think, what I said, third place for the Heisman at before the start of this week.
Right.
So I'm just pumping his numbers up, trying to get him up there. He's already over 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. So if I can get more yards and another score, I will.
Yeah, so all right, so you gave your second place was your.
So the Dolphins are in second place to
Oh,
me.
Dolphins,
Patriots were in third at 10-7. Dolphins in second. You had the Dolphins in third at 10-7 or 9-8, somewhere in there. Yes. 4 touchdowns.
School record.
Oh, school record. Nice. And so Miami added Jalen Waddle, which is huge.
Yeah,
he was a guy.
That is really big.
To Devontae Parker, who has played much better and is now entering, I believe he's entering a contract year. They still have Gesicki, and they added Will Fuller, who is another speed guy.
Yeah.
So you have Parker, who's like
Now,
your all-around
does Fuller
receiver.
have a 6-game suspension?
He did, but he only, I think, has 1 or 2 left
Okay.
this season. So yeah, so the first game or 2 they will not have Fuller. Sorry, you're up.
That's all right, because typically if Fuller played the first 2, he'd be out the next 4 or 6. Yeah.
So,
No.
so that's where I'm at there. Like to me, that's an improvement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you now have Parker, who you had last year, but you have Will Fuller eventually, and Jalen Waddle.
And you got arguably the best wide receiver in the draft. I know Jamar Chase put up huge numbers 2 years ago. I know that Waddle got hurt last year, but Waddle was the guy at Alabama until he got hurt.
Right,
you know, like
October. So, like, you have to see that as an upgrade. Now you have Tua, who's entering his second year, had basically a full off season, is ready to roll, is even farther removed from that injury. He has taken it upon himself to say he wasn't ready last year. And
Right.
he didn't really blame anyone. He's like, I need to know it better.
right.
So, like, to me, he's moving in the right direction. Now, I need to see it on the field, but they're still working on the offensive line. They added another offensive tackle. They switched a few components in the middle. They went with Matt Skura at center after Ted Karras went back to New England. But like to me, the offensive line is a push at worst, but they have a bunch of young pieces on that line that you hope get better. Austin Jackson, Robert Hunt. You could see third-year guy Michael Dieter even step in if Skura doesn't work out at center. So I think there's, at a minimum, that's a push, and overall the offense should be better.
Yes.
And they were 10-6 last year.
Right.
And now the defensive thing is a big issue because of Xavier Howard. If he's not going to play or they end up trading him, that's obviously a subtraction because he could have easily won Defensive Player of the Year last year. He had 10 interceptions.
So what do you think happens there?
I think he gets traded. I think Miami says, no, we just gave you money 2 years ago. You're only entering the second year of the deal because they tacked it onto his original contract. We're not restructuring you. Plus, you've already had some off-the-field run-ins, and you have been injured during your career. He's also going to be, I think, 28, turning 29 during the season.
Do you want me to advance?
Yeah. Go through the week. So, to me, I don't think Miami's going to budge. So he's either going to play on that contract, or I think they will end up getting rid of him. So that would downgrade their defense, obviously, because he was at minimum a top 3 cornerback in the NFL, if not number 1 or number 2, especially in terms of playmaking, ball hawking. Now they drafted Noah Beginning, I can't even say his name, from Auburn in the first round, a year plus ago, to step in. Hopefully they signed Byron to the big contract, which is I think one of the reasons that Xavier's upset because he's not even the highest paid cornerback on the team, but he's one of the best, if not the best corner in the NFL, at least of late. But I just don't see Miami. I don't see Miami budging. So if he doesn't play for them, yeah, obviously that's a downgrade, but they brought in Javon Holland, who could possibly make up for it because he was known as a playmaker at Oregon at safety. They just re-signed Jerome Baker, which is wonderful because as much as I hate rooting for a Buckeye, he's an incredible linebacker.
Yes.
I think he's underrated. He's underappreciated around the NFL, but I'm happy he's in Miami. I like their defensive line. You're now entering year 3 of Christian Wilkins. Raekwon Davis was a great find from Bama. He's entering his second year. I think they have the pieces to be very, very good. That's why I wish Xavier Howard would play, but I understand why they don't want to budge with that.
Right.
So I think the offense could be better. Defense, maybe even or slightly worse, possibly, if Howard doesn't play for them. So they went 10-6 last year. I'll give them 11-6 this year, and that's hopeful. That's definitely me thinking.
We jumped up to 12. Sorry.
Nice. And then now we play at Rice.
Just play the game.
Play the game. We'll do recruiting later before we advance the week. Oh, we have an offensive coordinator upgrade if you want to do that before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna put Miami in second at 11-6. That is definitely part of me being a homer, but I don't do that often with the Dolphins. So I just feel like year 3 of Brian Flores. I'm hopeful year 3, year 4 are the year to go. I don't see it falling apart, so I think we'll be okay. So if we can finish in second and in front of the Patriots, I'll be super happy with that. 11-6 should be borderline playoffs again too.
Right.
So there it is. And looking at Miami's schedule this season, we know that they have New England. The bookends start in New England on September 12th, end in Miami against the Patriots on January 9th. They also get Buffalo in week 2, but that is at home. So, you want to pull out the measuring stick immediately at the start of the year. You get New England and Buffalo back-to-back before going back to Las Vegas, who they kind of ended the Raiders' hopes when they pulled out that miraculous victory.
What skill do you want here?
Do the route tree in the middle, bottom middle, or the second level middle.
Yeah.
Because I need help with the receiver. Whenever I throw the ball, it's always a question mark of who's going to catch it or catch it at all. So, yeah. So, but Miami then had. This is a brutal. Maybe I need to rethink this. This is their first 5 weeks, Justin. At New England, host Buffalo, at Las Vegas, host Indianapolis, at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's rough.
So they're gonna know who they are early. So they need to beat the Patriots and Raiders. You need to be no worse than 2-3 at that moment.
Yeah.
And if you want to be thought of as a contender, you need to be.
It doesn't matter what the schedule is. If the record isn't good, people are going to be chirping about Tua so bad.
Well, and the thing is, after those 5 games, their next game is Jacksonville, but it's in London.
Oh. Right, and, like, you got to beat Jacksonville, right? Like,
right.
With Tua, with Tua playing and going against, like, this year's big quarterback, you know, like, you got to win that game.
4 of their first 6 games are on the road, including that game in London against Jacksonville. So that's not an easy start for my Dolphins. Yeah, they have a super late bye. It's not till week 14. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad. It depends on how beat up they get. So they need to weather the storm early, and then they need to really attack things from October 24th, basically to my birthday or so, because they have to play Buffalo in there again and the Ravens. But
it's crazy that, like, when we're talking Buffalo, or not Buffalo, when we're talking about your birthday, it's not exactly the true end of the season. You know, like,
no, there's still 3 more regular season weeks and then the playoffs.
Right.
So from October 24th to December 18th or 19th, depending on when they play that game, Miami has Atlanta, Buffalo, Houston, Baltimore, Jets, Panthers, Giants, Jets. So obviously Bills, Ravens are again, they're going to be good ways to measure how good the Dolphins are. But those other games are at worst push. If not, you need to win those.
Correct.
So if they can weather that early storm and come out like 3-3 or 4-2 against those 6 teams would be wonderful. And then make a run in the middle of the year, you know, I'll be happy. But that first opening salvo is rough for them. But obviously we think, are you done with Dolphins and Patriots?
Yeah.
Anything else to add for either of them?
No.
Obviously, we both think that the Buffalo Bills are the team to beat in the AFC East again this year. They were 13-3 last year. They made the AFC Championship game, right? They lost to the Chiefs. Was that the AFC Championship game? Yeah.
Just to be clear, I want to take the Patriots to win, but I don't have the guts to do it.
The Patriots to win the division?
To win the division.
You wanted to pick them to win the division?
I kind of do, but I don't have the guts.
Well, see, it's tough for me because I hate all of the other teams.
Right.
So I don't want to see any of the other teams win the division.
Here's the thing, like, and I know this sounds crazy, but, like, I just kind of love, like, I would love to have the chaos that would ensue of, like, them being good again now. Like, I know that's blasphemous to you. Like, I know you don't want that.
I don't want to see any of them be good. I want them all to go. I want them to be like 2-15, all 3 of them.
Right, and I get that. But I don't. I think the Patriots have what it takes to win maybe 11 games, but I don't. I'm going to I think they'll win like 10 or 11. I really
But they'll have if they win 10, they have the tiebreaker over the top.
Yes.
Well, that would have to come down to AFC East.
And I can't pick them over the Bills. Just the way not just the Bills from last year, but the way the Bills played last year.
Yeah, they had confidence and swagger. Right. It all comes down to the.
And they had it everywhere. Like, they had solid defensive play. They had good offensive play. They had guys contribute from all over. Like, yeah, I think the Bills are building. It'll be interesting to see. They kept their coaching staff.
Yeah, that was a big win for them.
Especially with the young quarterback, because, you know, if you buy more years with the young quarterback before you have that turnover, I think you let the quarterback establish himself more, so that when that comes, because, like, if the Bills have a season like they did last year, you know, where they're AFC contenders, I don't know that you keep the staff intact again.
Right.
You know, like, not that they wouldn't try to, but, like, I just don't know that happens again.
Like, I don't know that it would be possible.
Right, because, like, when you get guys like, yeah, I just don't know that would work. But yeah, we'll see. I think the Bills are good. I think it'll be interesting because, like, they really kind of hit their stride the second half of the season last year. They were okay in the first half, but, like, you know, they would find ways to lose a couple games.
Well, they lost to they were on a tear though after they lost to the Cardinals on the Kyler,
Yes.
the
Oh
Kyler
my
Murray
gosh.
Hail Mary, the Hail Murray, right? That's
Yeah.
what they're calling it.
Yeah, which was also like the last good thing that happened for the Cardinals.
For the Cardinals, yeah. Well, that was the week after the Dolphins beat them in Arizona.
Right. Yeah, so
So you have the Patriots at 10-7, 11-6.
yeah, and I think the Bills are going to end up maybe at like 11 or 12 wins. So I think like those top three teams are going to be close. But the Bills they seemed like a well-rounded team, and some of their key players, like the quarterback, are young. So like I feel like he could continue to develop.
Well, Allen and Diggs just developed immediate chemistry. Oh, he stood me up.
Like on a separate note, like how happy did Stephon Diggs seem to be out of Minnesota?
Right.
Definitely playing with a quarterback that's a little more dynamic, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, but also like
Maybe
don't get
Kellen
me wrong,
Mond will
like,
beat him out.
don't get me wrong, like I don't feel like. Oh, what's the coach's name in Minnesota?
Zimmer?
Yeah, like I can picture how he would wear. Feel like he just annoys me. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm indifferent to him.
See, I think some of that comes from like the like.
He was the coach when the Eagles beat the crap
Eagles,
out of him.
Yeah, the Eagles Vikings kind of like a little bit of bad blood there. But yeah.
So you're going what 12-5 for Buffalo?
Yeah.
So actually a little bit of a step down for them.
Yeah, but I think the other team, like you said, the wins got to come somewhere. I think the
Yeah,
Patriots
I
are
know.
better.
I
I,
mean,
think the Dolphins are
if
better.
you would add up all the records we project, we are so far over.
Oh yeah.
Like what can happen.
Absolutely.
But you didn't make the spreadsheet this year, man. You didn't make the spreadsheet.
Well, give me time. Give me time.
We'll have to correct. We'll have to redo all of these previews
Oh my gosh.
all over again.
Well, yeah, that'll be annoying. I think I did it after our or at least after some of them last year because they definitely didn't match up. But or maybe it wasn't.
You were pretty
because-
close with the Jaguars.
Yes.
I think you had them going 0-16.
Right, I did in the picks, and I said that can't happen though. I'm going to give them one.
And yeah, so I mean, obviously, I agree with you. Everything you said about Buffalo, they seem to have it right now. They can't waste it. When they have Josh Allen on he hasn't signed an extension yet.
No,
That's one
not
of the
yet. I think
big things.
After next year, though, will be the year where will be when that would happen, right?
Right.
Could happen, I guess.
So this is wow, this is crazy. I didn't realize this was McDermott's 5th year as head coach there.
Yeah.
But him and Brandon Beane have formed a team, and they've done what they wanted to do, and they now have a great quarterback room now with the way Josh Allen made strides in year 3, and they drafted Jake Fromm last year. He's entering his 2nd year. They brought in Mitchell Trubisky as the veteran backup, and while he's not, he doesn't pose a significant threat, it's great having someone like that there.
And as crazy as this may sound, like the arm, I'm not saying the arm is the same, but he gives you a similar skill set in the sense that he can move around. So if something were to happen to Allen, like obviously we don't want that to happen, but like if something were to happen to Allen, you have a guy who you wouldn't have to change everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so that could be beneficial even if you need it for a game or two. And we're talking about a long season where you still might have guys missing time for COVID stuff, and just it's an extra game, so like it's another game that people could miss. So having a deep and reliable quarterback room can be
Oh,
huge.
did you see him catch that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Only 2 yards, but
we miss hard ones, but we miss the easy ones. Make that one. So yeah. So I mean, I really wanted to pick the Patriots, but like I don't know that they've got it. But man, I'd love to see them beat Brady in that first weekend in October. I think that would be cool.
Well, take a look at Buffalo's schedule. Is there anything that jumps out to you about the
So,
Bills'
let's see
schedule?
All right, so a little bit. So
Oh, we dropped it.
they start with the Steelers. So who knows how long Ben will be healthy? But like he might be healthy week 1. That could be interesting. They have Najee Harris and stuff there, so like it'll be interesting. Man, the Steelers are very interesting. I don't know what to expect out of them. But then they're at the Dolphins, and then they have Washington and Houston at home.
I just turned it over.
On our territory. Like, those are two games that they must. Houston, they will win. Houston's going to be awful.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, Miami, Washington, Houston, at KC, at Tennessee. That's not easy either because, like you said, we don't know what we're going to get from Pittsburgh, but at least like they should all be healthy there the first week. Then they got to go to Miami. You take on Washington, got to beat Houston, then at Kansas City, at Tennessee.
Washington at home, though, you have to win that game.
Right? Oh, yeah,
right?
That's an absolute must-win. Must-win. Then they come off a bye and they have Miami already in October. Now that one's at home. They get Miami off a bye at home. And then they go on. They finish with an easy schedule, though. They need to win early because if they win early, they'll be okay. Their last 4 weeks, they got Carolina at home, at New England, tough, but host Atlanta, host the Jets. So 3 of their last 4 are at home, and 3 of the 4 are absolute must-wins. Carolina, Atlanta, and the Jets. And if they go to New England to beat New England, oh.
I thought they were going to fumble it forward for a first down.
So, but looking at their roster,
they're going for
they've started to figure out that when they need to run the ball, Devin Singletary is a pretty good back. They brought in Zach Moss last year. They still have Tyron Jones, and they also signed Matt Breida. So they've got a stable back there. No one's going to instill a lot of fear. The AFC East doesn't have really a big running back right now. They're all kind of by committee. Patriots, Dolphins, Bills, and Jets. But I don't think the Bills have a negative in their running backfield. Wide receivers, we talked about Stephon Diggs. They brought in Emmanuel Sanders, which was probably necessary until some of the other younger guys or no-name guys step up. Because I've heard that Cole Beasley's on the bubble. So we'll see what happens with him.
I'm not trying to make a statement about this. Cole Beasley also refuses to get his vaccine, so he said he may not play. Like they're not gonna make you get your vaccine, but maybe he's just like, I don't want to have to deal with all that stuff this year, and he's done.
Right, but it's the defense, especially the defensive linemen, that really instill fear
Cole Beasley,
in me.
Yeah, Cole Beasley, I know this sounds crazy but you can replace him.
He's replaceable, right? So defensive linemen, they drafted Gregory Rousseau, kind of an edge guy, and Carlos Basham this year, and they're adding him to Vernon Butler, AJ Epinesa, Jerry Hughes, again, kind of like an edge guy, and Ed Oliver. Oh, and Star Lotulelei is back after a year away for COVID. So they have a great defensive line and edge rusher group, and their linebackers, I think, have been mostly underrated. They get the job done, especially Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano is the big one that they brought back. So we'll see if their defensive backfield can play as well as it did last year. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White, those guys could be very important to how good Buffalo is this year. But I do think that they are the best team in the AFC East on paper. They won 13 games last year. You said 12-5. I'll go 13-4.
Okay.
I'll say 13-4 for the Bills this year, and I think that's where I'm at with them.
All right, so we both have the Jets in 4th place.
Yep, I vote 5 and 12 or so.
Right, we have the Dolphins and Patriots flip-flop. You have Dolphins in 2nd and Patriots in 3rd. I have Dolphins in 3rd, Patriots, in 2nd, and we both have the Bills winning the division. Yeah, I think it could be a really exciting division in the top 3. And as an AFC East outsider, I think this division could be set to be really interesting for years to come. You look, Buffalo has their quarterback. Dolphins, I believe, have their quarterback, and we'll find. We'll
I
know
hope.
more a year
God,
from now.
I hope
right?
so.
I know you do. I know you do. The Jets, we obviously have to find out if they.
Oh,
do,
no.
But
Oh, God.
But they've got a young guy who could be their quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And a coaching staff, I think, that's going to coach in a way that will let him develop to at least figure it out. That's the thing with Sam Darnold. The Jets and Adam Gase were so bad that like you couldn't even figure out if Sam Darnold's the guy or not.
Right.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out.
Oh, shoot. I didn't mean to do that, but... Oh, he dropped it!
Of course.
Oh, my God.
But then we have... Yeah, so... And then you have New England, who Cam Newton is their guy right now. And I think Cam's going to be better than last year. I think he'll be a little healthier at least to start the season. I think he'll be a little healthier to start the season. But they have Mac Jones, a first-round guy who's their guy of the future, they would think anyway. So, like, it's going to be interesting, I think, the next few years in AFC East.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. Jesus. Oh, man. Well, I guess I'm going for a touchdown since I couldn't set myself up for a field goal. That guy could have caught it. Oh, it's annoying.
I thought you handed it off.
How's that not pass interference? Oh, it's annoying. But
John O'Neill.
John O'Neill must be the referee. All right, so we're at 7-3 FAU against Rice here in starting the second half. Do you want to navigate to the email? And we'll get to my uncle's email.
Okay. Do you want me to read?
Yeah, you can read through it.
Right. So this is from our resident New England.
Our New England
fan,
buzzkill.
and also show like historian, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. He's an archivist.
Yeah. Yes. I didn't know if that was a word. That's why I wanted to start. Like that's literally what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure. All right. So. Okay, I'll read the email. Sorry, guys, I did not get to hear your show last week, but I'm listening to it now, and I plan on listening this week as it involves my and Joey's team. So, he is giving us a rundown here. So
I think he's going to go through all of his picks.
Here are my picks for the NFC East. In first, he has the Washington football team. He says, love Fitzpatrick at quarterback, and I think they have the best coach and defense. I think Fitzpatrick could be a step up for them at quarterback this year. And I can't disagree with the coach statement right now.
Right.
In the East. The defense, I also can't disagree with right now. We'll see. But, I mean, he has legitimate points there. They won the division last year. I wouldn't say they were close to beating Tampa, but that everybody thought Tampa was going to blow them away.
Yeah, well, and that was with their
didn't.
third or fourth string quarterback.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Who earned himself an actual contract. Too.
Right, yeah.
So good for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
In second, he has the Cowboys. Dak's back and defense will be better. I agree with that.
Completely agree with those statements.
The thing for me is if Dak is back and the defense is better, I don't know how you have him in second place. That was my thinking. You know what I mean? Like, if Dak is back and plays the way he can.
He's a big believer in Fitzmagic.
And yeah. And you know what? The defense, I do agree with his points, though. The quarterback, well, the best coach and best defense, so maybe that'll get it done. The Giants in third. Barkley's back in there, better than the Eagles. I can't disagree. And fourth, the Eagles. Sorry, Justin, I don't trust Hurts as my quarterback. You and me both. Like, and again, that's not to say I don't think Hurts can't be good. It's just like, I'm rooting for him. We need to see it. And last year we didn't really see what we needed to, but that wasn't necessarily Hurts' fault.
Right. I feel like I'm giving him a clean slate, but
right. The same issues that were there before Hurts were there with Hurts. So, all right. Then he went to so for the rest of the NFC here. So in the West, he has and first he has the Cardinals. Murray getting better,
Ooh.
plus good wide receivers.
I like that. I like
and
that,
defense
though.
got stronger. Yeah, I like that pick.
I like sticking. I mean,
right.
can't say we
If
didn't
you're a
consider
believer
it,
in Murray,
but
then go with it. Second, Rams really hope Stafford plays better with a better team and one of the best defenses in the league. Third, he has the Seahawks. Beside Wilson, what is there? And fourth, Niners. Hate to say, but Jimmy G needs to stay healthy, and that's absolutely true. I think that's interesting about the Niners. Man, they've fallen off. If that were to be true, in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, in the Super Bowl, they in theory should have won. Or they appeared to have had one. The Seahawks, I can't disagree. I mean, I guess some people would say, well, you have some wide receivers there with Metcalf and some of the other wide receivers they got there.
oh my God, they just held me out on 4th and goal.
Maybe we'll get a safety.
Oh, that's
Sorry. So I
disappointing.
had read through those NFC West ones.
Yeah, I'll pick up and finish with Rich's email here. Oh man, that was disappointing. All right, so in the North, he says first Packers. Not a Rodgers fan, but he is the man in Green Bay and the North. Second, Vikings. Cousins not as good as Rodgers, but Cooks is better than any Green Bay running back. I hear you there. He's my fantasy running back, so I'm all about the Vikings giving Dalvin Cook the ball. Third, he's got the Bears, only because the Lions are bad. Fourth, Lions, new coach, but same bad team. So I get it. I get it there. The only reason that I didn't have the Packers in first is because I don't know that Rodgers is going to play this year.
Right.
We were about a week away from camp's opening, and we still don't know anything about that. I mean, as much as I'd be disappointed if Xavier Howard doesn't play for the Dolphins, it's a lot worse if your all-pro quarterback doesn't play for you. So.
Yes. Your MVP caliber quarterback.
Right, yeah. Year in and year out, your MVP caliber quarterback.
And like we've said, we've seen way to hit the guy 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage and not make the tackle. Great job.
So I got a couple of texts here. He says our bet on the shirt said it would be on the final standings. So I'm assuming, though, he means regular season final standings. And he says that New England plays Tampa Bay on October 3rd and the Cowboys on October 17th. So big October for the New England Patriots, it seems. So anyways, back to Rich's picks. In the NFC South, he picks Tampa Bay. He says, admit I thought Tom would need a year to get going, but he is Tom terrific. Who will stop them this year? Almost everybody is back. I can't disagree with that. Falcons in second. Matty Ice and believe they got better. Also better than the other two teams, which he has the Saints in third. He says he's picking Winston over Donald, but McCaffrey over Kamara. Plus, whose wide receivers would you want? I mean, you have Michael Thomas if he can stay healthy in New Orleans. And in Carolina, they just lost their second wide receiver, right? All they have left is DJ Moore because Samuel went to Washington. So, yeah, I agree with that. I'd probably pick Michael Thomas over DJ Moore there. But still, he is Panthers in fourth place. So that's his NFC picks. Now in the AFC West, we all picked the same teams. He goes first Chiefs, who else? Then he has second Chargers, third Raiders, fourth Broncos. In the AFC North, he has the Ravens, still the best team. He says still the best team in this conference. Assuming he means division.
I know it's not going to happen, but can you imagine that if that got thrown out a while ago, if it came to fruition and the Packers traded Aaron Rodgers to the Broncos?
To the Broncos? That would certainly turn things on its head.
You have Rodgers and Mahomes in the same
division. I still like the Chiefs.
Oh, and Herbert's there as well.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, but just imagine what Rodgers could possibly do with those wide receivers in Denver.
Yeah. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler, Noah Fant. I thought you were going to pick that off for a second. I didn't see that guy undercutting it.
Me too.
So he continues with the Browns in second. Here comes Mayfield, Chubb, and Myles Garrett. Third, the Steelers. Old quarterback, just not the same. Fourth, the Bengals, new quarterback but getting better, which I agree with that. In the South, Titans. He has the Titans over the Colts. Great running back and a quarterback who won't hurt you.
I didn't actually believe that they were going to punt. But
Colt-
I picked punt return safe.
He has Colts, Wentz with a coach he likes, but not enough to beat the Titans. So you pick up with third place.
All right, so third place he has the Jaguars. Trevor's not ready yet, but will be at some point. And fourth, the Texans. All kind of problems in Houston, and the biggest one is Watson. I can't disagree with anything.
Flag on the play. Let's see what it is.
Of course. Take me back.
It's all right. We just
Take
need,
me back.
We just need a few first downs here. It's not pretty, but
Yeah, it's not pretty.
especially Rice was 1-8.
Were they really?
Yeah, so not good for us.
Well, I turned it over on downs twice. Once in
So-
our end that led to their field goal, and another right at the goal line.
Right. So in the AFC East, he has in first place the Bills. Josh Allen is the man in the East right now. Plus he has Diggs. We kind of mentioned those same things and would agree. Second, he has the Patriots.
Of course he
Lots
does.
of free agents signing. Bill looking to make waves. Our missing 8 COVID players on defense from last year are back. That's where that 8.
That's where the 8 comes from, yeah.
And we have a QB for the future in Mac Jones. I agree with all those points.
Right?
Third, the Dolphins. I'm not a fan of Tua. They will miss Fitz. Ooh, taking shots at your quarterback.
Bring it.
And then fourth, Jets, rookie QB, and they are the Jets.
I agree with you there. I
All
agree
right.
with you
A
there.
couple of questions. When did Justin become a Brady fan? I would not classify myself as a Brady fan, and I'm offended that is even.
I knew. I'm glad you're reading this because I had already pre-read this, so I knew it was coming.
I motioned to have the show historian or the archivist strike that from the record.
that has never been uttered on this show.
Um,
I think he's talking about last week, or maybe this is just us in text,
Right,
but we
right.
should say that. Is Tom Brady more or less annoying outside of New
yeah,
England?
We did have that conversation off the show.
With Adam,
Right, about how he is showing personality and all that stuff now. It is kind of crazy.
which I guess maybe he wasn't really allowed to do it in New England, and now
Right,
he's
but,
having
like-
the opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, like, who was really going to stop him, though? Like, Bill would say something, but what was Bill going to do? Get rid of him?
Right.
No. Like,
Yeah, how'd that work out for him?
right. But, yeah, so, I mean, he's good. Oh, you know what it was? You know what it was? It was when we were talking about I want Tampa to beat the Cowboys in week 1. That's what it was.
You're right.
Yes,
That's where
you're
it's
right.
from.
You're
That's
right.
where it's
And
from.
I will,
Yeah.
in week 1, I will be rooting for them. You and me both, Rich. So you must hate the Patriots more than Brady. No.
School record
I-
rushing yards in a season.
I would say if I had to pick one, I would pick I dislike Brady more than the Patriots. I don't know. That's hard to say now.
See, I don't like the Patriots.
Yeah, I don't like
They're
them either.
team in my division. I can't like them.
No, I understand that. It's different for you. I don't know who I'd probably put Brady next, but like I've resigned to the fact that like he just wins all the time. What else am I gonna say? Like,
Yeah, he's just annoying now.
And Joe, you must dislike both Brady and the Patriots the same.
that's pretty much where we're at.
Pretty
And
much nailed it. I will send a copy of all our picks right before the season starts for future reference. I am ready for football and lots of exclamation points.
yes, absolutely.
Anyone want to buy 2 tickets to the Patriots Tampa Bay game? Just $5,000 for the pair. I have heard they're paying more than that. Your uncle from Boston.
I'm not interested in that.
No.
For the price.
Right,
If
right.
the price was better, I'd be interested maybe. But it's tough during high school football season. I called it draw. I hate draw plays. I'm calling a timeout.
If you give up a fumble, it's over.
Oh, I hate draws. Why did I call it draw? Here we go.
Did you call again?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I mean, I like to go, and we talk about this more so in college, but like I like to go to big games and see like
Oh, yeah.
great football.
So some of no, I say this. I've been to a lot of Penn State games, and I've been to a lot of big Penn State games, and they're fun. But I obviously am emotionally invested in those games. I've also gone to a couple big college football games that I have no emotional investment in, other than I'm just there for fun, and they've been awesome.
Yeah.
Like Big Ten championship, Michigan State against Iowa. It was as Big Ten of a game as you could get.
Right.
But like Michigan State running back somehow keeps his body off the ground and reaches into the end zone on a goal line stand, and scores. And like it was just awesome. It was really cool. And
Penn State's unranked and just lost to Ohio State 34-18.
Oh gosh.
LSU's up to number 5 again. That's huge for our resume.
Yes.
That's huge for our resume.
But yeah, SEC championship game, that was fun. Like those were some fun games, and I didn't really care who won. Like that was.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
was
Like,
cool.
obviously, I'm not paying $5,000 for tickets to
No,
see
no.
Tampa Bay visit New England, and I honestly, unless he's getting offered that much money, I don't think he's getting rid of those tickets.
Right.
But like games like I am absolutely interested for a reasonable price of going to big time
Right.
games, probably more so college than NFL, but I would be very interested in a lot of those NFL
Right.
games that just feature 2 historically good teams that are also good that year.
Yeah.
And I expect, while I think Tampa Bay is better than New England, I still don't think New England's going to have a bad year. So I hope they see a good, fun game. And like you said, how crazy would it be to allow Brady to throw all over the place and get the record, but the team lose?
Right. Team loses and the Bucks go to like 1-4 at the time.
Oh man,
I
whew.
guess that wouldn't be it.
That'd
I think it
be
might
a little
4.
rough. That would be a little rough. So, do we play North Texas next? That they just lost. Yeah. Man, we didn't have it wasn't a great couple games
No.
for us. It wasn't our best outing.
We won.
We won, yeah. Wins are wins. I'll take
But that
it.
game
So,
against Rice was not.
no, that was not our best.
But that happens though.
But
when
see,
we play those
I
teams.
wouldn't have gone for it in our territory against a different team.
Right.
And I would have kicked the field goal if we were only up 4 against a different
North
team
Texas
too.
did get ranked though. They're still ranked.
Well, and they were 25th,
Oh,
so they're
they're
gonna
gonna
drop
fall out.
out. Yeah, they're gonna drop out. So, well, let's see where we're ranked, and I'm sure North Texas is gonna drop out with the loss. So maybe we shouldn't have had them. We didn't want them to lose. We want to beat them when they're
Right.
ranked. But yeah, so I'm excited for football. That's the bottom line. I'm excited for football. I'm excited for Wilson football. I'm excited for Penn State football. I'm excited for pro football. Just really excited that Wilson starts the 27th, Penn State starts the 4th, and NFL starts the 10th with the majority of the games on the 13th. Is that something like that? The 12th.
12th.
So the first game's the
11th
9th. The first game's the 9th, right?
Saturday.
Okay, yeah, the first game's the 9th. The Thursday night kickoff game's the 9th. Then most of the games are on the 12th. Yeah, just really, really great. I mean, it's like 6 weeks away. Like from major football action, we're like 6 weeks away.
Yeah, well, I saw a thing. I thought it was 7 Saturdays till.
Right, so we're getting high school started in 6
Right,
weeks.
yeah.
7 weeks to Penn State, 8 weeks to NFL.
Right. It's
Yes.
weird for me. Like I can't remember the last time Penn State played on the road Labor Day weekend. Like
Right.
I know it's happened, but it's weird to me.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've done like every Labor Day weekend. Well, again, not last year, but it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, last year was freak. I just talked about that because we actually get to do like a mini Labor Day vacation away from here. They moved up to 22.
They came back and won though because they're 9-1, right?
Oh, did they lose the previous week?
I think it was the previous.
Oh,
week.
okay. No, they're 9-1. We're 9-1. So we're at 11 though. So 11 versus 22 in the Conference USA game that we're going to be playing.
This would have been a heck of a Thursday night football game back when we were in college. You know how
Yeah.
They would like.
That would have been great. That would have been great. So, but I think that's about it for us. Do you have anything to say? So recruiting's done. We don't have to do that. So we can hop in next time.
Hopefully, the Phillies can keep winning.
Yes,
At a clip
yes.
of 70% of their games, and
Good.
good things will happen.
Good end. Like right before the break here, before the All-Star game last week, and now they got off to 2-game victories against the Marlins. So you got to beat those teams. You have to beat those
And they
teams.
haven't beaten the Marlins.
Right,
this
they've
year.
been
So,
their
like, to
kryptonite.
take 3 out of 4 from the Marlins. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
it.
So, yep, hopeful for the Phillies that they can at least stay competitive this part of the season.
Hey, everybody's got their flaws in this division, so there's no reason. Why can't us, right? Why can't us?
Why can't us? Bring it back. Bring it back. So, Yeah, I will be here next week. I don't know if it'll be by myself or with a guest. Definitely playing these next two games 11 and 12 on the schedule. Big ones against North Texas and rival FIU. And then I don't know, Justin and I will be able to play a possible conference championship game and a definite bowl game since we're already bowl eligible. And we've already bested our record from last year. We were 7-6. We're already 9-1. Looking for double-digit wins in year 2. So
yeah, and a big bowl game.
Yeah, let's get a big bowl game. Hey, we're knocking on the top 10 door. If we can beat North Texas this week, we might get there depending on what happens in front of us. And we had that marquee victory over LSU. So, hey, anything can happen. Why can't us with the Owls?
That's right.
Why can't us with the Owls? So that was our AFC East division preview. We did a little recap, and we appreciate my uncle's email to keep us on our toes and hold us accountable for our picks. We will have discussion next week about our playoff predictions and what we think will happen in Super Bowl 56. Are we going to see the Chiefs back there? Will the Bills break through? Will it be someone else like the Ravens or the Browns are a trendy pick? Could we see an AFC South team like the Colts or the Titans? In the NFC, I don't know. Is it going to be Tampa Bay already? Are they going to make Tampa Bay back-to-back in 2 different sports in back-to-back years? That would be kind of crazy. I'm not sure that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Did you see the thing? Did I send this to you or did you send this to me about a 1-year-old Tampa Bay fan has seen as many championships as a 50-year-old, what was it?
Yeah.
Mets, Rangers, Jets, and Knicks fan. A 50-year-old of those 4 teams in the New York area has seen as many championships as a 1-year-old Tampa Bay fan. Just like adding salt to the wound, huh? But I'll take it. It's New York, and I don't like those teams. So.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's all good. No worries. So my uncle did contact us through the Mays Sandwich Shop email inbox, and you can do that at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. And make sure you follow and like our pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Look for Joe Mays and J-Raff or JMNJR Radio. But that's it for us. We appreciate everyone listening live or after the fact and watching us game. It's been a lot of fun. We're coming down to the end of year 2 of our Dynasty, and we're coming down to this portion of the year where we do this Joe Mays and J-Raff show. Justin and I will be all in on Wilson football momentarily, so enjoy it while you can, but of course we'll be back in the late fall with all the pro football talk you can handle. But one more show next week, episode 340, will be about the upcoming 2021 NFL season. It was a wrap up our preview with a look at the playoffs. We'll recap our division winners again. We'll pick our wild cards. We'll pick the playoffs and our Super Bowl champions. So for Justin Raffauf, I'm Joe Mays. This was episode 339 of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. We'll see you again next week. Thank you for listening.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. Woo-hoo! You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your emails to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as the Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.